Dae-hyun is saving a kitten trapped inside a drain. He is so lost in the process that he loses track of time, only to realize that he's running late after a while. When he sees the time, Dae-hyun panics and starts to run. This is when he catches a glimpse of Seo-byul, who is also running but in the opposite direction, and they cross each other's path. Seo-byul is surrounded by a gang of other girls, and in order to make it out safely, she attacks first and retreats swiftly. While she is making her escape, Seo-byul sees Dae-hyun sitting alone in the cafe, sad. It turns out that he was late for his date due to the cat incident and got his heart broken. Seo-byul sees the sad Dae-hyun and forgets about everything else. She's pulled by her friends to continue the escape. Later, Dae-hyun drinks his sorrows away and is making his way home. This is when he meets Seo-byul. She asks Dae-hyun to buy some cigarettes, but he refuses. Instead, he buys some sweets from her and asks her to quit smoking. This is when Seo-byul finds Dae-hyun too irresistible and gives him an adorable kiss. Even her friends are in shock, and Dae-hyun is even more confused. Fast forward 3 years, and Dae-hyun is considered a chick magnet. He is famous among the girls as he works in a local convenience store. One day, when he is surrounded by girls, Dae-hyun's father, Jung comes to the store. He talks about the financial condition of the house and how hard it is for them to make ends meet. When he is doing so, Jung falls to the ground. He is rushed to the hospital, and it turns out it's not that serious and he has indigestion. Seo-byul is secretly watching a fight in the street, and as soon as it breaks, she steps in. After all the chaos, she heads to the convenience store where Dae-hyun works. She sits with him and makes herbal tea. As she left to use the washroom, exhausted but comforted due to her presence, Dae-hyun falls asleep on the counter. When he wakes up, he's left surprised as the store is full of people. Someone is handling all of them perfectly, and it does not take Dae-hyun much time to realize that it was no one except Seo-byul herself. She is hired as a part-time employee in the store. When things finally start getting better, something awful happens. Just as Dae-hyun walks into the store, he sees that all the cash from the counter is gone, and Seo-byul is nowhere to be seen. He thinks something is fishy and quickly rushes to Seo-byul's place, but she's not there either. Dae-hyun thinks that he has been played and that Seo-byul stole all the money and has ran away. On his way back, he informs the police about the same. As he goes back to the shop, he sees that the money is properly arranged on the counter. The allegedly stolen packs of cigarettes were also in their place. Confused, Dae-hyun realized that it was his mother who had taken the money. She needed it for some urgent expenses and put it back as soon as it was sorted. When Seo-byul came to know about the whole thing, she felt extremely disrespected and betrayed. So much so that she decided to pick her sister, Eun-byul, from the karaoke bar and quit her part-time job. She starts working in a food court where she sells a hangover cure. She knows that she needs something better to do for a living and misses her part-time job. This is when Dae-hyun's friend, Dal-sik, who is a webtoon writer, meets him at the store. Dae-hyun explains everything that happened, and he's organizing the stock cupboard to make it up to Seo-byul. Dal-sik leaves soon after. The next day, Dae-hyun invites his ex-girlfriend Yeonju for lunch, but she invited him over to a hotel instead. On reaching there, Dae-hyun goes to the hotel gym and starts cycling. Dal-sik, on the other side, is keeping an eye on Seo-byul. He sees that Seo-byul is having a blast with her friends, partying and drinking outside. This is when Dae-hyun finds her in the convenience store, and the episode ends when both of them are watching deeply into each other's eyes. The two youngsters are still in the convenience store. They both are mad at each other but decide not to say anything to trigger the other. Some friends show up, and Dae-hyun and Seo-byul end up drinking a lot. Dae-hyun passes out, and it gives the girl some moments to adore him. However, when she's trying to put Dae-hyun back on the couch, he murmurs Yeonju's name instead. This obviously enrages Seo-byul, and she punches him in the face, filled with jealousy. When he wakes up, Dae-hyun finds that Yeonju had unsent some messages in the middle of the night. This made him curious, and he wanted to know what was up. This is why he invited her to another dinner. On the other hand, Seo-byul's morning is not pleasant either. She's still mad about the incidents of last night and punches her teddy bear with frustration. The same chaos revolves around the house when Dae-hyun's parents are fighting over some errands, but he is busy recollecting memories from the previous night. Se-byul's friends shared that he was her first and only kiss. This is when things start to mess up even more. Some policemen show up at the store and they accuse Dae-hyun of selling cigarettes to a minor. He needs to meet Yeonju for the dinner, but the plan seems to fall apart thanks to the police. This is when Se-byul and Dal-sik step in. They know that Dae-hyun has some plans for the day and they ask him to leave, promising that they will help the police instead. Dae-hyun agrees, and as he's going to meet Yeonju, he finds the guy who was thought to be the minor by the police. Dae-hyun confronts that guy, but he denies it to corporate. This is when Se-byul oversees the conversation and steps in to help Dae-hyun again. He leaves for the store, while Se-byul uses her skills to get the suspect to talk. He finally shares the date when he bought them cigarettes, and the duo can finally prove the ID was asked during the purchase on the 8th of January. The police agree to leave, and in order to show his gratitude, Dae-hyun announces Se-byul as the confirmed and permanent part-timer in the convenience store. A romantic moment stirs up as they're dancing in celebration, but Dae-hyun decides to walk away and get to work again. The next morning, Se-byul is lost in the happy memories of the previous night. She's daydreaming about the dance when a famous celeb from the show Sky Castle walks into the store. She holds her thoughts and gets back to work. The same thing continues the next day as well. She decides to take things to the next level and decides to flirt with Dae-hyun. She uses makeup and gives hints to Dae-hyun, like getting close and talking cutely, but it backfires. Dae-hyun thinks that she's trying to mess with him and is essentially creating trouble. With that thought, he leaves for a shift change, while Se-byul is left thinking about what she did wrong. She talks about the same with her sister Yoon-byul and friend Gyeong-bi. This is when she finds a few shoplifters in the store and decides to teach them a lesson. Dal-sik was watching the whole thing go down and appreciated how bold Se-byul actually is. When she comes back to the store, Dae-hyun was also just going outside. They had a small talk and it was going well until he got a phone call. It was Yeonju. This annoyed the hell out of Se-byul. Soon after, Dae-hyun had to go outside and take care of his drunk father, who is creating a scene. Another romantic moment goes to shreds this way. The next morning, his father had a bad hangover, but Dae-hyun still decided to leave for work. As he reaches the convenience store, he finds Se-byul engrossed in horoscopes again. Not a lot happens, but she asks Dae-hyun to cover for her shift during the night. On the other hand, Dae-hyun heard that Yeonju was getting too close to Seong-jung, a co-worker in her office. This makes Dae-hyun extremely jealous, and he uses alcohol as a resort to reduce his pain. Desperately, he asks Se-byul about the horoscope app just so that he can know what his future with Yeonju looks like. The next day, Se-byul is hanging out with her friends and they decide to go for dinner. She thinks that her younger sister is at home sleeping, while in reality she is in the karaoke singing so that she can save her friends from the group of thugs. However, the thugs decide to click a disturbing photo so that they can blackmail her. Se-byul happens to find out about the whole matter and goes to help her sister. As it turns out, Yeonju was also one of those thugs. They have a clash in the bathroom and Dae-hyun also happens to walk in at the same time. This uncovers a massive number of secrets, lies and mysteries in front of the trio, and the episode ends there. What will happen next? Who will Dae-hyun support? Is this thing going to be better? We will talk about it in part 2 of this video. You can find the link in the description. We hope that you enjoyed this rom-com Korean recap. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. This will help us bring more content like this. Comment down below which Korean show recap you would want us to do next. See you next time.